Hey traders, it's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth. Today is Thursday, November 5th, and thanks for tuning in for another daily market recap. In today's video, we're going to discuss whether or not another pullback is coming. So whether or not we can expect weekly lower highs to be set, and is there going to be a nasty pullback? Because I think today was very reminiscent of yesterday and the day before that. And we'll look at the chart in just a second on SPY and a few other ETFs and tickers as well. But before we jump into the content, make sure to smash like, subscribe to the channel, and tick the bell. You'll be notified when I post next. So we'll look at some news and events, and then we'll dive into some charting and my overall thoughts of the day and for the rest of the week. So we saw some huge short squeezes in Canadian MJ today, and US MJ was up big as well. IIPR had a big earnings reaction and hit new all-time highs in a blue sky breakout. We'll look at some news and events as well. I did a couple videos on Cron's earnings and Hexo up big today, so you can check those out. But for the sake of time, I'm going to cut that out in this video, but I will touch on them there in just a second. But let me know in the comments below if there's anything I missed, if there's any other tickers you'd like covered. I'll do my best to get to those as soon as possible. So the election update, we're down to a few states now. So essentially, Biden is very, very close to winning. And that's why I think the stock market was going so much higher today, was because we even saw the TAN solar ETF was up over 10% today, just huge gains. The MJ sector anticipating a Biden victory. And the Senate right now is tied, I believe, at, let's just take a quick look. So 47-47 and 253 to 213. So if they were to sweep and get control of the House and the Senate, that's very, very good for the MJ bulls. And I think that's why we're seeing a short squeeze. And Aurora was up over 40% today. And also Cron's bullish reaction to earnings. They beat on EPS and on revenue. So that certainly helped the cannabis space bulls. But again, check out that Cron video if you'd like to see a little bit more in depth on Cron. But in terms of the election, I don't think we're going to have a clear winner until likely sometime this weekend or next week. There's been a Nevada, I think it was said that it's going to take days for them to count. So it's certainly going to take some patience at this point. And we saw that Trump basically said, stop the counting. And then all these votes coming in they're just magically appearing out of nowhere, which is absolute ludicrous, because people who voted by mail were mostly Democrat, because they were, basically just looking to look out for themselves and the health of their families, and sending these ballots in early. Some of them had sat there for days and weeks. So to say that they're coming in out of nowhere, they were probably there before even most of the legal voters that voted in person at the polls on election day on Tuesday, which was November 3rd. So, I mean, it's going to be an interesting finish, and Trump has launched lawsuits in just about every state. So it's hard to believe that it's already Thursday and tomorrow's Friday. We're already 3-4 days into this, and we have a clear winner in sight. We can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. It looks like it's going to be Biden, but again, it looked like it was going to be Hillary Clinton until the last minute, and Trump pulled away with the victory. So don't get too caught up in the pre-election data. We'll want to wait until we have the final confirmation. So that's pretty much it in terms of the election. We did see that there was a riot declared in Portland as protesters demand every vote be counted. So I highlighted in my summary. I continued that summary into today. Yesterday's video, I basically said to watch out for riots and social unrest. And that's exactly what we got. And personally, I could see it getting even worse if the Trump campaign continues to go down the lawsuit route and to challenge and contest this election. So we had some economic data as well. Jobless came in lower than expected, and still well above pre-pandemic levels. So first-time claims are unemployment insured totaled 751,000 last week, a slight decline from the previous period. And we were looking for around 741,000. So taking a look at the Jobless claims here, you can see that it came in at 751, and we were expecting 732, and it was 758 last week. So a little bit better than last week, but missed in terms of the projections. We also had the FOMC statement today, so they're keeping rates at 0.25% or near zero. And basically, markets didn't care or react to that economic data. We also saw that the US, the cases topped 100,000 for the first time since the situation began. Bank of England boosts bond buying as new lockdowns begin in the continent and the nation. So all around Europe is essentially not looking good. And you can see that China bars travelers from Britain, France, and India in response to the clampdown. So again, it's not looking good in terms of the economic situation at hand. We also saw that Paul Krugman says that the US really needs a really big relief package to keep its economy afloat. With the US failing to contain the outbreak, the economy may need several $100 billion a month in disaster relief to stay afloat. And he was a Nobel Prize winning economist, I guess. Krugman said enhanced unemployment benefits have been the most important policy. So obviously he's not telling us anything that we didn't already know. Quran earnings. So EPS came in, like I said, with a beat at 25 cents, beat at 0.19 cents, and revenue was 11.36 versus 11.1, so a slight beat there. So that's pretty much all I had in terms of news and events. In terms of indices, we'll take a look at SPY and QQQ. So SPY is seeing a daily bull cross on EMA 12 and 26. QQQ already saw the cross, so we've already crossed bullish. We did trend down on the volume today on QQQ and SPY, so that was notable. We just barely hit the 20-period moving average, but the reason why I'm saying that we're getting a little bit toppy here, I'll show you here on the monthly chart. So remember the last time we got outside of the monthly Bollinger Bands, we pulled back in a big way. We're nearing that. We touched the top of the monthly Bollinger Band today, and with a high of 352.19. And you can take a look at the RSI here on the monthly. We're trending lower with lower highs and lower lows, and we're approaching that. We would have hit that line today as well. I didn't see exactly when we hit that high of the day, but we could push up and potentially go outside of the Bollinger Band again and test that resistance line here on the RSI. I wouldn't rule that out as a possible scenario. We have a monthly inside bar forming as well. But the reason why I think that this is different is because we're forming a weekly equilibrium. So we have the high, the all-time high, the low, which was the low of 319, which was the last weekly support at 319. So we had weekly support at that level on SPY. So I'm going to bring it up actually on this chart here. So SPY on the weekly, I already had it drawn out here for you guys. I'm missing a line on the top here. Let me draw that real quick here for you guys. So you can see we topped out right at that resistance line. So this white line here, I'll draw that out, connect those two. So let me just zoom out here. So on the monthly, we're outside of the Bollinger Bands. We are forming this megaphone pattern here, this broadening pattern, which we're getting very close to, which we topped out as well at the all-time high. And we have the support and resistance. We zoom into the weekly. So we have resistance here at 354.02 and support at 319.80. And our new support on the daily is 322.60. So we're very close. We're closer to the resistance. We also have this pennant forming here in this equilibrium pattern. So we have the all-time high, the low, it's 319, which is the last weekly high or low, which we bounced off of in a huge way. And then we topped out at 354, which was the previous weekly high. And we were looking at potential weekly downtrends, which the bulls stepped in and fought that off. So we had this trend line forming here as well on the weekly. So we bounced off of the weekly support line and we continued with that weekly equilibrium. So the reason why I think that we could potentially be topping out is because of the monthly RSI trending down with lower highs and lower lows. We're approaching the monthly Bollinger Band, the top of the monthly Bollinger Band. We're approaching the top of this resistance line in this pennant in the weekly equilibrium. We're approaching the megaphone pattern, and we're approaching resistance at 354. And bulls have shot up just this week almost 10%, over 7%. I don't think they have it in them to break above unless there's any kind of news driven or something like that along those lines. But personally, I think we're going to need to form at least a daily high or low before we charge through that resistance. So we could potentially go sideways in this weekly equilibrium for another few weeks and months, potentially into the end of the year. We'll see. But if we just draw this out here, we have 10 bars, so 70 days that we could potentially go sideways. Taking a look at the daily, we also saw lower volume today. We had another upper wick, so we've had an upper wick 4 days in a row. We had that doji, we had a hammer, doji, bull break, and increasing bull volume. But today we waned a little bit on that front, and we are approaching, like I said, that we did get within $2 of prior resistance. And like I said, we haven't formed an hour or a daily high or low. So at the bare minimum, I would want to see a daily high or low. Bulls have tons of room. We were in a daily downtrend. Now bulls have tons of space. We've got essentially 8 to 9% that the bulls could drop and still just be looking for a daily high or low. And then tons of room to change the daily trend. So that'll be step number one. We do have a couple gaps in the chart as well, so that's notable. And the range today compared to yesterday, we saw over 2%. The day before that, over 2%. Today, we saw less than 1%. So we're kind of running out of momentum here. We do have that daily EMA cross of 12 and 26 period, but I'd be cautious here as we haven't formed a daily high or low since this run up. Taking a look at the hourly chart. So we do have an hourly high or low here at 343.09. And into the end of the day, I was looking for a potential for a double top or an hourly trend change. So we hit a high of 352.17 on the day. And then we hit 352.06, and then we started to pull back. If we lose that low here, so if we lose that low, we'll say I'd like to see us lose 348. If we lose 348, that's going to confirm an hourly downtrend, but we'll want to be sure that we see follow through on that as well. 4 hour trend or 4 hour chart could just be a bull flag on any hourly consolidation without any follow through. So if we see a trend change tomorrow with not much follow through, keep an eye out for bull flags. But like I said, it's all about the low here. I'd like to see us break 348 to confirm an hourly downtrend and be confident. If that does happen tomorrow, then that will confirm our daily lower highs are being set. And then we'll zoom out and we'll look for, we'll just scout a daily high or low. We'll know that the daily high or low is set once we change the hourly trend back to the bulls. And like I said, tons of room for the daily trend changes, but probably the most likely scenario is just a weekly lower high here, in my opinion, and we'll continue this weekly equilibrium. But I didn't think they were going to drop this rate to a lower low and confirm weekly downtrends. Certainly equilibrium was the most likely scenario, in my opinion. And like I said, tomorrow's going to be a very important close on SPY. I know I'm spending a little bit more time on this than normal, but I want to stress the importance that we could potentially be setting weekly lower highs, and tomorrow's going to be a very, very important open and close to the week. So that's pretty much all I had for you guys in terms of SPY. Let's just bring up see, so yeah, so MJ's continues to be inversely correlated to SPY, I've noticed. So today, a lot of the times when SPY was going down, MJ was going up. And we saw yesterday's, it's just been a constant theme where when MJ tends to go up, obviously at the end of the day, we were up big in MJ and we were up big in the market. But generally speaking, we've been seeing an inverse correlation there because stocks have been, we saw that huge gap up and huge gap down on CGC the other day. And we'll continue to monitor that correlation to see if it holds true, but certainly isn't going to stay that way forever, but keeping an eye on it. So taking a look at gold, I did notice that gold broke out of the weekly descending triangle. So I'll just draw that here for you guys using the real candle bodies. It's not completely game over yet for the bears. So if we pull back into the end of the week and we pull back within this descending triangle, then we could potentially still be in that pattern. But right now we broke the high of 1933.29. We had a high of 1952 today. So that confirms a weekly uptrend with a low, high, higher low, and higher high. So we are in a weekly uptrend on gold. Let's just take a look at silver. Silver, not quite 25.56 was the level to break. We hit 25.47. So we haven't completely changed the weekly trend on silver yet. And silver, just adjust that, see what we're working with here. Silver still respecting that descending triangle. So we'll see how the bulls manage to get out of this here, or how the bulls manage to charge going into the rest of the week. But that's a potential clue that we could see gold come back within that pattern as well. But certainly looking good for the bulls at this point with the weekly trend change. We'll want to see follow through. Zooming out to the monthly, it could still be a potential monthly bull flag as well. We do have decreasing bear volume, which is a sign, a good sign to the bulls as well. Taking a look at the daily chart, so daily uptrend as well. Huge move today, up 2.5% roughly on the day. So most important daily support is 1882.21. We did get above resistance. So next daily resistance level is 1973. That's pretty much all I had for you guys in terms of gold. Just take a look at the list here. That's pretty much it. Taking a look at DXY. So we were looking for a daily high or low. We basically puked up the entire move. We had daily support at 92.47. Today we hit 92.48. Perfect bounce off the support level. And we bounced hard off of that level today. Just take a look here. So 90, let's take a look, 5 minute. So we hit 92.48 and then we bounced all the way up to 92.68. So nice 5 minute bull flag and trend change there, but gave it all back with a downtrend into the end of the trading day. But nice play off support there. That was a good idea or a good signal to go potential short in stocks or sell some positions and look to reload cheaper. But taking a look at the monthly chart on DXY, the dollar, so it could be a monthly bear flag, all about 91.74 support on the monthly. The weekly, just looking for a weekly high or low. Most important support again is 91.74 and resistance at 94.74. But we did form a lower high. Well, not really a convincing enough lower high and lower low. So I would say still flat on the weekly, but looking for a weekly high or low. Taking a look at the daily. So daily downtrend at this point. But we need to, actually we broke the daily downtrend, but now we're looking for a daily high or low. And probably equilibrium, I would say, is the most likely scenario here for the DXY chart. On the hourly, you can see that we hit a low of 92.48 and 92.52, 92.48. So double bottom there on the hourly. So we'll see if we can form a base of support here around that level. But resistance on the hourly, most important resistance to get over is 92.86. Let's take a look into the end of the day. See what kind of, so we had some sell-off into the end of the day after the FOMC reaction. And like I said, changed the 5-minute trend into the end of the day, but then changed it back to a downtrend and gave that back, and could potentially still be a bear flag. So with that, I'm pretty much going to leave it there in terms of indices. Take a look at oil. So oil was consolidating today, likely due to lockdown restrictions, but again, haven't formed a daily higher low in quite some time. So we'll just be looking for scouting a daily higher low once that's confirmed. I think we changed the hourly trend. So we had a low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Lost the uptrend. Haven't confirmed a downtrend yet, but we did lose the uptrend. Like to see a downtrend confirmed though, to be absolutely confident that the daily lower high, that daily consolidation is underway. And actually the 4-hour chart is going to be even more important. And see, we had a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, most important support. So we are still in a 4-hour uptrend. Most important support on the 4-hour is going to be 38.74 with resistance at 39.34. So that's where we stand on US oil. Certainly just expecting a daily lower high as a result of this bounce. And we'll see how much more of a bounce the oil bulls can get, but certainly starting to cool off at this time. And biotech sector was up big today, closed red though. XHB, which is the home builders ETF, closed with an upper wick. Huge daily move. Energy sector closed red, looking to bounce off EMA 12 on the daily. XLF, nice green day with an upper wick, similar to SPY and QQQ. The real estate trust sector ETF, indecision candle, but closed red. Healthcare closed red after a huge gap up. Or sorry, the gap up was yesterday. Inside bar there now forming on the daily. So that's pretty much all I wanted to cover in terms of global indices. We'll take a look at some individual stock charts. And again, just highlight that we could be seeing, just want to see Apple here. So Apple's following the similar pattern of QQQ with the weekly EQ as the most likely scenario, with a high, low, lower, high, higher, low, and could be setting a weekly lower high here. And Amazon still within this head and shoulders pattern. So I wouldn't want to see us break above 34.96 as long as we remain below that level. I also saw that Jeff Bezos sold, I think, $3 billion worth of stock. So maybe he knows something we don't, but RSI also trending down with lower highs and lower lows on the weekly. So could we potentially see a confirmed head and shoulders? If we do, we'd be looking down here to around the 22 to 2,500 level as a potential bounce area. We also have MSFT, Microsoft. Again, I've been highlighting this as a potential head and shoulders. We have the high of 225.21. Today we got to 224.12. So as long as we remain 225 below 225.21, then that weekly head and shoulders is still potentially intact. And same thing here, lower highs and lower lows on the weekly RSI. So let's move over to some MJ. So we obviously had a short squeeze today in the cannabis space in Canada, and Aurora changed the daily trend as well with a low, high, higher low, and higher high. Most important daily support right now is 438, but huge day for Aurora. Wasn't even really any news. So you might be wondering what's going on with that, but we do have earnings coming up on November 9th, but likely just the hype from Cron earnings, them beating EPS and revenue, the hype from Biden winning, and the potential of legalization and decriminalization. And we know that the names that get beat up more than than the others tend to recover a lot faster and harder and see more moves to the upside. We had huge daily volume as well, with a huge daily bullish candle with a lower wick. So definitely bulls closed right at the high of the day, and bulls in full force for Aurora, APHA, daily uptrend as well. CGC, daily uptrend. Cron, daily uptrend. Hexo, daily uptrend. So again, I did a video on Cron and Hexo a little bit more in depth. Hexo also settled a lawsuit today, so you can check out that video to learn more. But we did have this daily EQ that was forming on Hexo, broke bearish with the earnings reaction into a daily bull flag and trend change, and now back up above that 70-cent level into that equilibrium range that we saw not too long ago. So again, CGC, keeping in mind that if the Democrats win the Senate and the presidency, we could see a lot more upside in the pot stocks and the cannabis sector. And CGC's closing in on monthly resistance. We have monthly resistance at 22.19. We're looking to form this higher low here, which was 13.88. If we break above that 22.19 level and confirm a monthly uptrend, we are above EMA 12 as well, which is a good sign. But if we confirm that monthly uptrend, I can expect some huge fireworks coming. We have earnings on Monday, which is November 9th. As far as I'm aware, that's still the official date. But this is really going to dictate whether or not we see this monthly bull break and trend change. Taking a look at the weekly chart. So the weekly, we haven't formed a weekly high or low in a little while, so in about a month, a little over a month. So that's a little concerning for me. I'd like to see us potentially see a weekly high or low, and then bulls charge to monthly resistance and break above that. But certainly in control right now, the MJ bulls. And just taking a look at CGC on the daily, I highlighted this before, but you can see that we're crossing bullish. We do have a golden cross forming with the 50 crossing through the 200-day moving average. So this is why Canopy Growth is my #1 position in terms of MSOs and LPs. That's the biggest position I have right now in the cannabis space. Let's take a look at the daily here one more time. So we did have huge daily volume and a little bit of a lower wick. Shows bulls bought the dip and closed with a little bit of a sell-off. Again, it's been very, very inverse to SPY lately. You can see yesterday we had a gap down when SPY gapped up. Huge gap up. So it's certainly showing some signs of topping out, where you can see that we're trying to change these daily trends, and each time we do, we pull back. So we are staying within this daily uptrend though. So that's a point in favor of the bulls. But we could even draw this out here, this little channel to be watching, and see if we hold within that channel. I do have a lot of lines here as well, and I need to clear them up, but just clear those up for you folks. So you can see here we're following that channel, and we close back within there. So we'll have to see which way we break out of this channel, but we could go sideways for a little bit longer until the election results come out. And we also have earnings on Monday. So if we don't get a clear break tomorrow with the election results, we can expect to see it on Monday when we see the earnings reaction. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. Looking at the US names, so there wasn't a much to report there. We saw VFF up 17%. IIPR had a bullish reaction to earnings, like I mentioned earlier. And we are at an all-time high today, and weekly uptrend, blue sky breakout, huge beat on earnings, very, very bullish candle, huge volume, daily overbought. So certainly wouldn't be entering any positions here in a blue sky, maybe for a quick flip. So if we get to 5-minute oversold or something like that, buy that up for a quick flip, but certainly wouldn't be entering long. CWeb up 16% today, another one of my names that I have in my portfolio. Just take a look here. That's pretty much it. Not much I want to go over at the moment. Trulieve hugging the 3250 area. Cura 13, just over 3% today. So obviously Canadian MJ seeing the brunt of the move with Aurora leading the day. So congrats to the marijuana bulls. So in summary, keep an eye out for any social unrest. Make sure that you have a game plan. We are nearing resistance, like I said, on SPY. We could be setting weekly lower highs here. We are running out of some steam here with some upper wicks for the last 4 days in a row. We do have that EMA bull cross, but it's already crossed bullish on QQQ. We're seeing some monthly bearish RSI divergence. We're close to this weekly equilibrium downtrend resistance line, which we closed within. And we're also close to the 354 resistance, which was prior resistance on the daily. So haven't formed a daily high or low, so I would be expecting a pullback. And because of these gaps in the charts and how hard we've run over the last 4 or 5 days, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a nasty pullback. So just make sure to have a plan, hedge if you're long or you have a very long-term portfolio. Let me know in the comments below if you need any help. We're not financial advisors. We can give you our opinion. It's not to be taken as buy or sell signals. So with that, thanks again for joining us on The Pursuit of Wealth. Today's video was a little bit longer, but hopefully you found value in that information provided to you today. Make sure to hit the like, shows me some support. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this perspective on the market, and we'll see you tomorrow for another daily market recap.